Welcome, dear students, to another session of the subject communication skill. In last lecture, we have started the first unit, communication skills. In that, we have seen the introduction, the points of the syllabus we needed to be discussed. Then, in introduction, what is communication? It is derived from the word communis, which is meaning common, shared, or to make something similar in between the two people or many people. Then the communication is said to be the process of creating the shared understanding of the same information should be brought into the mind of all people similarly. Okay, then the process, what it is also called as sharing the information, thoughts, ideas, views, feelings from one to another, which is also called as soft skill or professional sorry people skill. And it is said that it is kept at the top when we say the interviews are there. Okay, when the people were chosen for job, the communication is given the most prior thing. Definitions, number of we have discussed. Okay, exchange of information and all other things, social interactions by using thoughts and symbols, transfer of information so that the other person will understand in detail. Okay, and what meaning is there of the message or the thoughts or knowledge information the senders want to send to the receiver. That is the definition. Then importance of communication we have also discussed. The pharmacy students comes under the healthcare fields, and it is a professional field where in professional life they come in contact with many other healthcare workers, okay, or professionals like doctors, nurses, and many others. Along with the in personal life they have to meet many people. So it is most important thing from for this pharmacy student as well. They should be able to express their information, their feelings, and even all the thoughts which are possessed by them in a detailed manner. Okay, then it is a two-way process. You always need two persons. We cannot say a process of communication with a single person to himself or herself. You always need two or more people involved in the process of communication. The communication is needed to be done just in a effective way, or when we can say you can build respect in others mind, you can build trust in others mind if you are able to uh, have a effective communication done. You can use it for solving the problems with others. Even you can be able to create new ideas if you are able to make the communication in effective way. Okay, and if it is problematic, if you are not able to communicate with the other person, they may result in disagreements, conflicts, or even frustration, misunderstandings, and so many things are possible. So what connection is needed to be made in between the two people or from one to many, it is not possible if communication is not done in a proper way. Okay, then it also reduces the unnecessary competition which is generally there. Actually no need to compete if you are having sufficient communication skill. Okay, ultimately the competition will be lessened, and which is important one. Okay, the all the personnel working in a single industry or company, or even at any other place where many peoples are there, if you are good in communication skill, or if all are good in communication skill. The environment, working environment, it will be friendly environment, which is called as harmonious environment, will be prepared, and which is definitely uh, beneficial for the industry, for its success, as well as individually it is important one. Okay, and collectively what we can say, the industry it increases productivity, and along with that the integrity and responsibility will be increased if you are able to do a proper or effective communication with one another. Just I told, healthy work environment, positive attitude in the all employees, it brings a strong relationship, trust, loyalty, and clarity in thoughts and expressions. So that what we have completed in last lecture. Now today's point is communication process. Okay, what is a communication process? Actually, when we say communication, it is a process. Okay, you need to some two or more persons, there should be certain mediators required. You need a some format to be followed. There are certain components of this process. Without those all component, we cannot say the process of communication is completed or communication is completed. So we always need these things with a communication when it is coming to any type of communication, which might be with your friends, with the employee and employer, or might be in between teacher and students. Even at your personal life it can be. So let us see in detail about communication process. Communication in any form or any medium is an interaction between individuals. Just I told, when we say individuals, they are needed to make certain sort of interaction with one another, and that is done through any medium, and communication is the best medium, and which is said to be the most important in uh, respect with you need to make a effective communication made to get the success or to get the result out of it. When we say this communication, which is as involve number of component in it, okay, it is a complex process. Complex means not easy. Okay, and it generally is performed or occurs within a specific frame means where the communication sender and receiver both are present in a similar environment. Hence it is said a common frame of reference. The not only environment doesn't mean in a single room or at a single space, but whatever other things which are related to the sender as well as the so called as receiver, both should be similar, and if they are same, then only the process of communication will be said to be effective one. And there is not always possible. If we say, for example, if you are doing the communication through telephone or mobile phones, okay, definitely both are, the sender as well as receiver are sitting in different places. Okay, we cannot say always the environment. So if a general logical thinking that environment should be common, it doesn't mean that environment. It is the mental thinking. Okay, and the understanding of the thoughts and ideas which are shared by the sender to the receiver, the ability to understand them by the receiver should be similar, Okay, the language which are used during the communication should be understood by the receiver. What I want to tell is the uh, environment, it should be similar, and then only it will be successful. Hence it is said to be the complex process. Not always possible the other person will understand what you exactly want to tell. The origin of the message starts at different levels of our consciousness. Okay, definitely when we say communication, okay, it is involving the process of transferring the message, and that message is a sort of information. Okay, when again it may be emotion, feeling, knowledge, idea, whatever it may be, it can be called as a message, and that message is needed to be uh, started in the sender's mind. Okay, and it might be at different levels of our consciousness. That consciousness means the mental ability of any person. Okay, or what you are thinking at that particular period or that particular time when you are you have generated that idea or thought in your mind. Okay, so it always require a origin to start or initiate that process, and the message is needed to be generated at the level of the sender's mind. The sender becomes the agent who definitely will send the message to the receiver. Okay, the transmission of the message from the sender to the receiver, hence we can say sender is the agent, who is again can be called as a as transmitter of the message to the receiver. The observation of the results of communication by sender is called as feedback. The observation means what you have noted down, what are the info, what you have understood by the process or the message told to you. Okay, and if the receiver is understanding, then only he will be able to give the feedback. Okay, and that feedback is said to be the result of observation, or we can say observations of the result is giving the feedback. And only if the understanding is done or understanding is 100% by the receiver, then only the feedback by the receiver to the sender can be given. So when we can say communication process is successful, it is depending upon the effect of transmission of the message, in which way the message has been transmitted, whether the receiver have understood completely or not. Communication does not end with only the transmission of message, but also depends upon the understanding of the feelings by the receiver. Okay, several time if we say you are sharing thoughts, emotions, feelings. Okay, uh, once if some words were told by the sender to the receiver, okay, what we will say, it is only one way process has been achieved. But when you need to complete the process of communication, the feelings behind the words or the message which were spoken must also be understood by the receiver, then only the process of communication will be said to be successful one. And always this process of communication is having the influence of many things, or it is affected by many things like backgrounds. Backgrounds means what are the feelings of both receiver as well as senders. Okay, what are their mental status in that particular time when the process of communication, when they are involved in the communication. uh, it might be physical, psychological status, even the physical status of that person may affect the communication. So that can be involved in the background. Then experiences means if the communication has been done with earlier people, definitely we meet many persons during our life or just before about any topic. If you are making the communication and that experience which is gained by the receiver, in the mind of that receiver the same thing may be possibly there, and the person will expect similar thing. Okay, in his mind the problems which are he or she has faced during earlier communication, similar may be carried in his or her mind. So that is said to be the experience, and which is definitely will be affecting the communication. Then objective. Okay, there are different objectives always for making the communication. When we are meeting to any persons, at always there can be uh, various purpose behind their meetings. So they are also making effect on the process of communication. Then desire, what you are thinking, what is your expectation from the sender. Okay, it can be the expectation of the sender from the receiver, or expectation of the receiver from the sender, that is also possible. And hence the these things generally affect the process of communications. It is always said, okay, sort of repetition, you can say it is a two-way process. Both must be involved actively. Active involvement means the sender and receiver should interact with one another, and if it is done, then only the process of communication is said to be the complete one. Okay, there are many components of a communication process. Okay, if we list them, there are 8, and all are always present in a process of communication. Even a missing of one, we can say the communication process is not complete. Hence, at the start, I told communication is the complex process. Okay, generally, what we think, okay, when we are speaking with somebody or giving some information or knowledge to other, okay, there is only 2%. What he has told, okay, like if we say a teacher is teaching to you, so you will say it is a simple thing, it is a process of communication, definitely, and not involving these many things in the process. But actually those are 8 components, and all 8 component must be there, they must be present always when we say a communication process is there. So let us see in detail about all these 8 components. The first component, you can say the important one, which is called as the source. Source, or which is also known as the sender, and most important element of this process of communication. The source or sender is responsible for transmitting or sending the information. Okay, because the origin of the message or thoughts or feelings or knowledge is in the mind of source means the sender, definitely. Okay, and that source transmit the information via certain channel. The channel can be again different. Okay, not always the channel should be similar, and the information generated in the mind of sender transferred through this or via this channel to receivers, and that number of receivers may vary if depending upon the number of receivers or the persons which are involved in the process of communication. When the communication is there, okay, other things like the background of the person, just I told, the psychological behavior, which can also be called in other words mood of the sender, which is very important. What is the attitude of that person, okay, during the process of the communication which is made, okay, what is the definitely background, okay, we already discussed it. So these things are the parts which affect the sender or the source. Because if we say, for example, I am teaching to you, okay, teaching means I am sharing some information or knowledge of this subject to you. If my mood is not good, definitely, okay, if I am angry, if I am depressed during my this lecture or during our this process of communication, okay, what I want to tell you or in which way I want to explain you will not be happening if my mood is not good. Okay, definitely it is applicable for all other types of communication when they are done. So sender's mood, attitude and background is very important, because the origin is taking in his mind. If any problem is there, okay, slight lapse on the part of sender means if mood is varying, okay, swinging of mood, which may affect directly the process, definitely first the communication. But we know why communication is done, the purpose which are there, they will be hindered or problem may arise. Like which problem? If we say it is a industry, okay, the whole fortune of the industry may be under problem, okay. Again, if we'll take a better example, if a representative from the employees are there who is meeting to the manager, during that meeting whatever process or how he is meeting to the manager is going to affect the whole community or the all persons which are a part of those employees in the particular industry. So if he is good in communication, then it will be better. Otherwise, the problem may arise to all other employees in the same group. Okay, then again, you can say it may affect the community or whole nation. Now, how uh, again we know our representative of ours, okay, might be the prime minister, is visiting several other nations, okay, other countries is visiting, and if our prime minister is not able to communicate properly, okay, many problems may be possible with our nations, because he is a representative who is telling, uh, is responsible for the fortune of our nation. So there is few examples by which you can understand how the mental feelings or mood of the senders are responsible enough for making either successful communication process or might be making a barriers or problems in the communication. Hence, the sender is always responsible for sending the message. What the sender or source does, which encoding of the information which is called as message are done into the mind of the source. Encoding, which is actually the another component, but what I want to tell, in by the sender, the encoding of the message is done, and which is definitely after encoding the message is transferred to the receiver via or through the communication channel. And the receiver, after getting the message which is encoded, okay, it is the responsibility or how the receiver is able to decode it. Okay, we know when encoding is done means it is done the code, okay, which are might be some symbol, signs or language. Receiver decoding means simply the receiver is understanding it, uh, whatever knowledge or symbols which are there. Generally, again, what I want to tell, when we say a code, okay, code means if it is shared between two person, both are able the meaning, both are able to interpret it, both must be knowing the meaning of that code. Okay, code, it can be in any form, it is digits, symbols, any even languages. So that coding is a important component, that encoding is done in the mind of sender while decoding is done in the mind of receiver. Okay, the source is a living or non-living thing, both are possible. Okay, living thing means if we as a human being are responsible for creating any message or information and we are transmitting it, okay, we are living thing. Again, if the source, you can say television, okay, it is a non-living source. Next, second component will come is the message, which is also equally important as that of the source. Okay, message, generally what it is the information, knowledge, feelings that sender want to send to the receiver. Okay, it can be idea, it can be any observation, data, anything. Then it may be in any form, like words, symbols, even gestures. Gestures means the use of body parts to uh, show what you want to tell. Okay, and nowadays they are electronic signals or icons which are observed or seen on the computer screen. So the message may be both verbal as well as non-verbal. Okay, when we say we are using some language in it, using some words, it can be called as a verbal message. And when it is using some signs, symbols or gestures, you can say it is a non-verbal message. We know when, for example, simply when we want to call somebody, okay, if some person is there, uh, one is, you need to call another person, what we can do, simply we can use some words to call him, come here, okay, please come here or come here. Then that is verbal. While if you are using your hand, Okay, we know how to call somebody if by that hand movement which is called as gesture. It is called as a non-verbal communication, non-verbal message which is there. Okay, so the hand movement can be also called as the symbols, and the main component of the communication is message. Okay, again, because like the sender, here the message is also main. Why? If there is no message, okay, message means no information, no knowledge, nothing is you possessed by the sender, how he or she will be sending it. So it is always the main component. Okay, without that message you cannot send anything. Okay, next is encoding. Encoding means simply to convert the information, the knowledge possessed by the sender, and the conversion from one system to another system is generally done, and which is done in the form of codes. Hence the process is called as encoding. What is code? It is a system of symbols, signs, or letters which are used to represent the specific meaning, or which is called as a secret meaning. Okay, you might have seen in movies. Don't know nowadays they are not, but in old movies there are always such thing were shown. Okay, some secret codes are there. If some thing you are sharing from one to another, okay, they are known to only both of them, that is sender and only the receiver. Okay, some sign or languages, some codes were given. Okay, or sometimes the uh, some piece of paper is there, okay, which is bifurcated, or two pieces were done, one is with the sender and another one is with the receiver. Okay, after matching of both pieces of paper, they share some material to one another. Okay, generally in exchange of in movies they are showing that in smuggling this sort of things were done. Okay, what I want to simply tell you is this is what it is, the coding. Okay, secret meaning is there behind that. Encoding system helps the sender to give certain shape to the message or idea or the information. Okay, that shape is given. Encoding always again can also be meaning creation of the message which we want to communicate to the another person. Encoding again is the process of converting data in a specific format which is required for a number of information processes needs. Always encoding should be done in the way that it should be known, or that decoding should be possible by the receiver. Okay, we generally means the sender should not generally use the codes which cannot be decoded by the sender receiver. So that is the uh, important thing behind it. Okay, if the understanding is needed to be there at the level of receiver, it is only possible when the decoding is done in a proper way by the receiver. Okay, then next comes the channel. The channel is the medium. Okay, you know what is medium, is through which the sender is sending or transmitting the message, idea, or thoughts. Okay, it is simply a medium. The selection of that particular channel out of many, okay, I will just tell you which are different possible channels which the sender can use if he or she want to transmit it. Okay, the selection depends upon the sender's mood, as well as you can say also other thing, that what are the expectations, the receiver's expectation from the sender, from which medium or via which channel they can understand it. So the selection should always be depending upon these two things. Okay, that is sender's mood and receiver's expectation. We can send message by using different technologies, like we know nowadays mobile phones, yeah, telephones, computer, fax, and some other types of things like post. Okay, these things can be used. Even communication channels may include many other things like wire or telecommunication. Wire means, okay, through electronic, the wires which are there, which are transmitting their information from one to another. Okay, or wireless, which is called as the telecommunication, or even another thing which is the computer networking. So these all can be a type of channels. It can also be physical transmission of medium. It can be any type. For example, you can say face to face communication, which is a type of channel. It can be a written thing, okay, written letters, memos, reports, which are written or printed one. Okay, telephone, just definitely mobile phones which are there. A meeting is what? It is a channel. When some you have called some meeting, it is a channel of communication. Then magazines, television, newspaper, okay, even the radios which is there, many are there. These all are called as channels through which the process uh, is communicated via, means the message is communicated via these channels. Hence we can again subdivide in these channels in two types, that is cable and broadcast. Cable, if it is having actually involvement of wires, okay, some other networks, while broadcast when the use of particularly the satellites or infrared radiations, or even all the radio signals which are transmitted, those are called as the uh, types of broadcast type of, again, channels which are there. Okay, so these are the channels. Now next is the decoding. Decoding means simply when the message is sent by the sender to the receiver, the decoding is done by the receiver. Okay, after the proper channel which is selected, the message enters this stage, decoding. The decoding is done definitely by the receiver, and it is a skill which includes carefully reading and listening the message for better understanding. Okay, we can say the sender is having the knowledge, the information, feelings with him or her. He has chosen a proper channel, the message is there, encoding has done properly. But if unless otherwise the decoding is done in a proper or way or in 100%, the receiver will not be able to understand the thing correctly. So to avoid misunderstanding of the message, okay, the decoding should be done in a proper way. How? To carefully listen the message, or if written material is there, careful reading should be done. Okay, in decoding, the decoder means the receiver interprets the message according to their own mentality and experience. Decoding means simply interpreting the meaning of the message. Okay, about the receiver feedback and content which are still remaining. Okay, the part of or components of communication we'll be discussing in our next lecture. Thank you.